Oh, it might have been a spider or something. You know she don't like them things. Yeah, she's gone.
All right. So just check that blood clot camera's actually recording.
That's the only thing with that camera, isn't it?
What's that?
You want to monitor?
You want it to flip over. You need to see it, innit?
Yeah.
So like that one, I can see it says record, and then your one, you know what I mean? It says record on your one, but on that one you can't see nothing.
Okay.
Oy. All right, we're in. Yes, my people, welcome again to Outside of the Fink with myself, Dazell Young. This part of the show is pretty important to me. In sport, there's a lot of talk, especially football, about the lack of black managers within the industry. Me being someone who's part of the backroom staff of many different organizations, something that's happened to me is I've noticed there's not many, again, black people within the backroom staff. Someone who's pretty close to me talks about representation, not just in sport, but in the whole of business. And today, I'm here at Back2Action with my friend, the owner, Rayan Wilson. What are you saying, dog?
I'm good, man. Good.
So today, what we're going to do, we're just going to have a little conversation, essentially where you come from, how do you build your niche, and take it from there. Whatever stories we get is the stories we get. Mm-hmm. Just so you all know, there might be swearing, there might be man them lingo. This is just a general conversation between friends who have made strides in the sport industry. So I'm going to kick it off from this point here, right? I came to you one day, many years ago, and I said to you, Bossy, I'm going to uni. And what did you say to me?
I'm coming.
So in that moment, why did you decide that you were coming to uni? What was the driver?
Before that, I knew that what I was doing wasn't enough. It weren't going to get me to that place where I wanted to be. I think I was working in a local sports centre.
Were you doing gym work them time then?
Yeah, personal training, just local people. But at the time, I knew, I always wanted to get into some kind of sports-orientated, football-orientated fitness coach. Was never sure what the job was. You take it back, 15 years, 16 years?
Yeah.
Sports science ain't like what it is today.
Of course not.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
so you're looking at, you're just a fitness guy. You run up and down, you tell a few boys to do a few suicides and you're in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And I was just like, there's got to be more to this. The avenues and the access to people was limited.
Yeah.
So, and there wasn't many role models, not just in the community, just accessible to us to get guidance on what you need to do to step up a ladder.
So you just mentioned role models, which is quite interesting. Obviously, the purpose of this part of the show is to give representation to boys like me and you who are maybe trying to start their career, don't know where to go, who to ask, and when they look, they can't see anybody that looks like themselves. I think now, and hopefully this show helps with that, if we have more of this, then it's going to be a lot easier for the youth and even some of the adults who want to change careers to have like a clear pathway. But anyway, moving on from that, so obviously we went back to college, started again, shared drives and all that kind of stuff. And then we had another decision to make. So we passed all our courses and so forth, and then it was university time. I decided that, let me go back one step, I nearly forgot.
Yeah.
We took a trip to UWE because our aim was to become physios, you remember?
That's right.
We walked into the hall and we saw the hall was packed out full of people.
Yeah, but they weren't like us.
Yeah, it wasn't like us.
They were, we walked into a room, that room was it was full of white people. We're there looking at anyone of culture, saying, okay, is there any Asian people, is there any Chinese people, any Somalians, any black people in there? Bearing in mind, we're in our city.
Yes.
So if the likelihood is if there's people from the BAME kind of background, we're likely to have come across or know them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
And we're looking at at least 200
people? Yeah, 200 people.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I felt a sense of entitlement straight away. Well, out of these 200 people, and it was advertised that they needed, black and ethnic minorities, they were inclusive, so they wanted us on there. And I'm looking, thinking, oh, this is a no-brainer. Big man, we passed, we got enough points. We're in.
We're here. And we're in Bristol, we're in our hometown. It's easy access, we don't have to travel and so forth.
This next path, the door's starting to open, so, right. I've started preparing my brain for, you're going to uni, this is going to be a next step.
Correct.
Then that door got shut quickly, boy.
Yeah, it did get slammed shut pretty fast. And then, obviously, myself, I decided that I'm going to change discipline. I went into sports science. Yeah. But you, as you normally are, pretty strong-headed. Yeah. And you said, no, there is something for me. So you did research and you found...
the sports therapy and rehabilitation course.
Yeah.
I mean, when you made that decision, I thought to myself, do you know what? Maybe I should do that as well. Mm. I did a little bit of research and I was like, that don't sound like me. That's not me. Like, if I go and do that, where am I going to end up? Yeah. That was what was going through my head, yeah? And I was thinking, no, you know what you said you wanted to do. I've been saying what I wanted to do from when I was much younger playing football. So I was like, hang on a minute. Then you're on your own, big man.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you're on your own. I'm going to have to give this a rethink and I'm going to have to adjust here because I'm telling you I'm going into medicine. You was like, nah, I found my course. You even brought the material to me. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's for you.
So did you find that decision difficult? Because obviously there's a lot of, how can I explain? There's a lot of moments in life where you need to make a decision that goes against the grain of your friendships. Mm-hmm. I remember one you made a long time ago. When we used to play football, you was manager, if you remember. Mm-hmm. And you like, Denz, you're not playing striker. I'm like, what do you mean I'm not playing striker? I'm banging X amount of goals every season. How come I'm not playing strikers? Because I need you to play wing back. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that went against, essentially, in that team, I was probably your closest person. Yeah. And you said, no, I need you to do something for the team, not necessarily for our friendship. Do you remember? And that season we got to the final. Oh, okay, we lost, but at least we got to the final. It's the only final we got to with that particular team. Yeah. So is that something that you just generally do, or is it?
Yeah, I'm not risk averse. So when it comes to analysing a situation and thinking, you know what, what's in the grand scheme of things, what's the wider picture? Mm. I'd like to say I got a good judgment on that. Yeah. It's something that from just going back in life, I left Bristol at a young age with my mum, friendship circles are now having to change when you're a kid. You're constantly having to pivot and adjust. Okay, how's that going to benefit myself and my surroundings in the best possible way? And one of my biggest things is, the people that you surround is me and them. It's not just me, or just them, you know what I mean? All of us. So being able to look at the wider picture, but the most important thing to me was I wanted to win.
Very true.
And in order to win, I had to potentially make a decision to, piss you off in some degree. Yeah, you know what I mean? It wasn't like these decisions aren't always easy. Sometimes, you're sat there mulling over it for a little while. That's just the nature of the beast when you're trying to succeed. Mm-hmm. However, I always say you got to grow up here. You make the decision, and once you make the decision, say it with your chest and stand by it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. That kind of mentality, that thought process brings me to my next question. So obviously you're at university. When I was at uni, I wanted to become a PE teacher. Everybody said, Dazell, PE teacher is for you. You're going to be very good at it. And obviously I went down a different path, as you know. But when you left uni, you had a different kind of drive, different kind of, energy.
I ain't going to lie.
So the question is, what did you see that others didn't?
It's not just what I saw, it's what I experienced. Okay. So when I was in uni, obviously you know about my illness, but I'm in uni and I remember there were two distinct situations. Yeah. Now, we went to uni the same time. Yes. But I failed my second year, or one of my years, because I couldn't turn up to an exam. My granddad had passed away. I'd put in extenuating circumstances, was told I can do it, was told that would be fine, I'll be able to sit the exam. Lo and behold, they failed me, so it meant that I got put back a year. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. And then in the second year now, although I didn't fail it, my attendance was questionable because I had a year severely struck with illness.
Yeah, I remember that moment.
And I felt like when I was in that system then, oh, you lot are against me.
Okay.
So for me, I love having my back against the wall. I thrive in those situations.
Yeah.
So survival mode was, oh, no, I'm not just going to be good no more.
Yes.
I'm going to have to be the best. And in order for me to get to the best, it means that I'm going to have to get myself to a particular level where the best for me was being able to provide opportunities for myself and those like me.
Yeah.
So I'm in uni going through it and I'm looking at all of these organizations that I've had to go and do work experience with. I've got a direct tutor and he can't stand me, I can't stand him. And I'm saying to myself, okay, do you know what? I'm going to put myself in a position where I'm going to be your employer.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Okay, so that...
And these things drove my fire. Lo and behold, it then gets to the stage where I was like, right, the next day, I'm almost about to finish uni now. Mm-hmm. You're done. I remember where I was. I was at the UE campus on work experience. And I said to you, Dent, watch when I'm done. Counting back the weeks.
You did.
Yeah, watch when I'm done. There ain't enough paper in this world to show that how much I was planning this before. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm writing out business plans because I'm starting to hand out CVs as if I'm already qualified, mate. Okay. To start to get a feel of the market because I was like, right, I'm going to need to go on, a bit of an apprenticeship. I need to go and find a work somewhere to understand the industry in more depth.
So did you, when you sent out those CVs, did you get any responses? What were the responses?
I didn't get not one response. I even thought about changing my name. That's how crazy it is because I felt like my name was too black.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you can kind of guess who I am before I even get there. Yeah. I said, no. So on a couple of them, and then I got a response on one or two. I was unsuccessful, but at least I thought, oh, you're speaking to me. I just abbreviated my name back to Ray. I said, yeah, Ray Wilson. Who is that? Do you see what I mean?
Gave you an opportunity to...
That started giving me to have a conversation.
Yes. Do you
see what I mean?
Yes.
Lo and behold, my parents used to always say to me, just remember, don't take it personal. A lot of the individuals that you're going to be sat in front of, they feel comfortable in front of what they know. And they don't necessarily know you as who you are, your culture, your this, your that. So in some cases, some of them will feel intimidated.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be honest, I didn't want to hear that.
Yeah, but as you grow and so forth, you get to realize it. At those ages, obviously, you're not gonna feel that way. You're gonna feel I'm equal, which you are. Yeah. Which we are. We are equal. However, for example, I did an interview yesterday, and it was with a white guy. I wasn't leaning back in my chair the way I'm leaning back today. Do you know what I mean? Mm. Like everybody feels. Well, for me personally, there is obviously a space for me. Yeah. And in this current space, I feel a lot more comfortable than, say, yesterday. Mm. And then I'm thinking about maybe what's coming out my mouth. Is it too yardy? Mm. Is it too this? Is it too that? And I think generally as black people, especially the higher we go, the more we kind of go through that second-guessing nature.
You start to think about your behavior. You start to think about who you are in that present moment in time. Mm. Now, it's funny, we've got a mutual friend, Martin, who I was having a conversation with him and I said to him, I got to the stage now where no matter what room I step in, you're getting me.
That's the guy who does the Fear Project, right?
That's right, yeah. So, and he was like, that's a strong position to be in. I said, I'm done with having to think about and pretend and you don't like me for who I am. Guess what? I'm doing okay. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm slowly chipping away at my goals. I'm not offending nobody. I'm not this. I'm not that. So, I believe I'm manifesting the journey that I'm setting out to go and get. The team's building. Things are going in the right direction for me. Yeah. Now, if it means I got to walk into a room and I have to change who I am, I second guess myself. Sure. I can't live like that. Yeah. I refuse to live like that.
Yeah. I fully understand that.
So obviously, leave university, you have an ambition to start something. You come to me and you say to me, I'm doing a pre-season camp and I'm starting a company called Back2Action. Mm. So me being me, obviously at that moment, I believe I was working in the industry, some professional team, can't remember which one, but some professional team, Wales or one of the teams. And my first thought was, why are you doing pre-season for players who already do pre-season at a professional club? Where did you see your in?
I saw my in, so it kind of started because my brother he had a journey at Bristol City that was just odd to me. He came through the ranks from, I don't know, 6, 7 years old, whatever it was when they start, right the way up to 16. Scouts, everyone's entitled to their opinion. They thought that he didn't have what it takes to go to the next level. So he then, that rejection was like, oh, I'm not just going to let that happen to you. I'm going to try and, from what I know of the industry and from my experience in the game, I'm going to try to support you where I can. So that then led to him going to college.
Yeah.
He scored umpteen amount of goals for the college, and then Bristol City brought him back in.
Okay.
He then had a season at Bristol City scoring umpteen amount of goals. I believe he finished top goal scorer of what I think was the Youth Alliance Premier League at that time. And then he didn't get a pro contract after that. Not a year, not an extension, not nothing, yeah? And I was like, hang on a minute, these kids are just getting picked up, dropped down, picked up, dropped down. I said, no. I can't be doing nothing for none of them, yeah? And then you're looking at these are kids, yeah? You're looking at these kids and I'm saying to myself, if there's a way in which I can help, I'll be doing you an injustice in not helping. So I actually started the camp to support individuals in bridging their physical capabilities and their kind of psychological capabilities to become better performers, to overcome some of the difficulties in pushing your fitness, pushing your this, what was back then, because my knowledge wasn't what it was today. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? But my intention is exactly the same.
Yes.
It was to provide that environment that allowed them to strive, believe, and grow amongst people who I had as friends who were more experienced in the game.
Yeah.
So they could learn from certain behaviors. Do you know what I mean? And that's where it came from. So it was like, you know what? Let's just run it a couple of days a week just before they go back. So when they go back, they don't go back with this prejudgment of, bloody hell, you're still unfit. They actually go back and if you was at the back of the pack, you're in the middle today. If you're in the middle of the pack, you're just slightly ahead. You're running in the second group or in the first group. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was about being able to position them it's like marketing. You're positioning them slightly differently. Once I did that, I thought to myself, okay, after this year one, the feedback I got from the boys that were doing it, there's only a handful of us, but the boys that did it, and then they went into the season. I'm speaking to them in season. How did you start the season? God, how did you? And a few of them are scoring, a few of them are highly confident.
Yes.
I said to myself, okay, let's see what next year brings. Yeah? And that's where it went from.
So next year, what did next year bring? Because, so you started with a small cohort of players?
Yeah, I think there's 4 of us.
And then it increased.
So the next year, obviously between the next year now, I'm still trying to find a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I always knew come June, I've got to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, so no matter what time it was, the camp was running. So next year came and I remember I was at Bristol Rovers at the time.
What were you doing at Bristol Rovers?
I was in the youth team, just like heading up the medical department in the youth team. And it was weird because, the guy then, I'll be honest, I feel like he bossed me.
So you reckon he gave you space?
Ken gave me my space.
Shout out Ken, yeah?
Yeah, big up to Ken, I'm not going to lie. Ken, when I came in, Ken just said to me, Ray, I've been told you're good.
Okay.
I was like, yeah. I wasn't going to say no.
Of course not.
I was like, yeah. And then he was like, okay, cool.
So I guess the first nugget of information, not nugget that you're going to give to people watching is when your opportunity comes, make sure you take it. Make
sure you take that, back yourself, say it with your chest. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Even if you're not ready for it.
If you're not ready, you got to go. You know what I mean? There's armbands. You figure it out. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and he's not giving me any instruction. He's not asking me no medical questions, not check my knowledge, not nothing. Are you good? That's all he said. Come on, I need the job. Of course I'm good.
Yeah.
So definitely when I was going into the game and then obviously made my progression and so forth, a lot of recommendations came my way. Oh, you work with this person or you know that person and so forth. You're connected with this person. So it's hard to do that for me personally outside your race when you're first starting.
Very lucky, funny you say that. So in order for me to get into Bristol Rovers, I was recommended. I was recommended by a local football team that I was playing for and also supporting medically.
Okay.
One of the coaches there, Polly turned around and was like, Ray, we need a physio, sports therapist, whatever. We just need someone at Rovers. Can I pass your details on to Ken? I was like, big man, you better do that. You better do that quickly as well. And, he did it. And, thanks to him, like I said, when I say the chat I had with Ken was so informal, I left thinking, I've blown it.
Okay.
Because it was just too relaxed.
Yeah.
But he obviously knew what he knew what he wanted or needed. So, in my opinion, was right. Now, this is my chance here. There ain't no way I'm letting this go. So I did above and beyond what was necessary. He needed someone just to do tape strappings. No, I'll do tape strappings, warm-ups, this cool-downs, this, that. Go home, I'm writing out warm-up programs. I'm looking at injuries and I'm starting to create injury templates for prehab and activation, all these different stuff for people that are 7 years old. Do you know what I mean? And as far as I'm concerned, every player that's in front of me is Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
Everyone I'm dealing with is they're playing for their career. That's all I'm thinking. That way it kept my brain at the level of continue to deliver your best for these individuals. Do you see what I mean? And that became my behavior. I don't care how old they are. I don't care who they are. You're going to get my best.
Yeah.
And that's how it was.
So obviously you were pretty good at doing that because, like we discussed, you were doing the pre-season camp, which is still going today. And then what I noticed is the caliber of players started to increase to the point where it couldn't really get any higher.
Yeah. Especially for the small team.
Yes.
For the small team that I had as well, because it started off just me. I'm running down balls. I'm laying out the cones, running down balls, pumping them out. Do you know what I mean? I think I must have had. I think it was about 150 at the time. And I was there prioritizing, right, do I just get a couple of balls, a few cones, or do I get more balls, or do I get poor quality balls, and then I can get this? And I was asking to prioritize the money just so I could figure out what's the minimum requirement I need to set up a session for.
Yeah.
At the time, it was 4 people. Second year, 4 people turned into 4 people on day one. By the time I finished day one, there was 10 people there.
Yeah.
So it's like they were texting people as they were running. I don't know how people knew, but people were still coming. And then people came and spectated to just see, is this for me? Then they was like, actually, do you know what? Yeah, this is. And lo and behold, one of my greatest kind of good friends within the industry, Yannick turned around and was like, Ray, I heard that. He said, I heard this is what I need.
Okay.
So somebody had told him.
The word of mouth.
This is what he needs. At this time, he was at Bristol City. And he said, I heard this is what I need. Can we talk?
We had, obviously, to give you a little backstory, when you were doing this, I think near the end, I left the country.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And every summer I would come back, visit you when the camp was happening and so forth and so forth. And we would obviously have a lot of conversation with players who were not actually with you and say, we reckon you should come down for these reasons. But there was always this, I don't know if it was a stigma or this kind of, I'm unsure whether you particularly are credible enough. Yeah. So can you talk to me about gaining credibility while being a black man in sport? Because as we know, credibility goes far. To get into Bristol Rovers, obviously there was word of mouth. Yeah. But now you are, again, asking athletes to do something which is against the norm and come to you and they're like, who's Rayan Wilson? Yeah.
It's funny actually, because we're at a stage now where the business has got departments. Yeah. The departments before was me, my left arm, my right arm, and my feet. But now we're at the position where we got departments. Marketing wasn't something I knew. Yeah. So to me, gaining credibility was through hard work.
So is this before Instagram and that?
Instagram was there, but even to today, I'm not that strong at these social media. Yeah, you know what I mean? But it's there. It's there, and I try to use it as a tool to be able to empower and showcase our work. But then at the time, I kind of just said to myself, being a little bit more naive and old school, I was like, do you know what? How do I package up myself to be better?
Okay.
So then I said to myself, okay, if I look at if I was a player,
Yeah.
would I get into a national team playing at Bristol Rovers? Not the national teams that I'm eligible for.
No.
So I needed to move club.
You might get a squeeze if it was the Reggae Boys.
Maybe, do you know what I mean? And even then, they probably ain't going to listen to me. You know what I mean? So, so I was saying to myself, okay, well, what do I need to do to reposition myself? Now I've got a couple of years of experience within some form of professional establishment. There's a tick that I used to see on the CV, because I stopped looking for jobs when I was at Bristol Rovers. It was just get your head down and work. Yeah. Make a few friends within the industry. So, I've started to do that from the player side. I've started to do that from the coaching side. At Bristol Rovers at the time when I was there, I've got to be honest, we had a great youth department. Like, we were so close. Everyone was working under Ken's ethos towards the greater goal. Do you know what I mean? And it was a fantastic environment. Then Ken left and the team started to become a little bit disjointed. But then opportunities started to present themselves to me. I was able to go and, support medical teams in a variety of different football clubs within England. And then I went international. I was with Wales. And, the opportunity I got at Wales with our friend James Robes was second to none, because it put me amongst a pool of players at every single kind of category in football you could think of.
Yeah.
I was with the learning difficulties team. I was with the deaf team. I was with boys. I was with girls. I seen it all.
Yeah. So you've seen a wide spectrum of
athletes at different conditions, with different injuries, illnesses, different ways that they dealt with it. I was working with psychologists, nutritionists, sports scientists, some top quality coaches, and then I was having access to their learning programs and being able to, even if I was just covering medical.
Yeah.
I'm sat there and covering medical. They're doing practicals, and I'm saying, I'm a thief that.
Yeah.
I'm just there in my notebook, and I'm just writing down what I see to build up my kind of encyclopedia. I'm thinking, how could I apply that to my discipline? Do you see what I mean? So I was really trying to take ownership to develop myself.
Yeah.
And then at the time I was like, okay, I still am not there yet. For some reason, I just thought I still wasn't there yet.
Okay.
So I said, I'm going back to uni.
Yes.
And I went to Middlesex.
And that's when you were doing your master's.
I was doing a master's in strength and conditioning.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah.
So obviously you leave uni, you're doing a bits on the side for B2A. You're still employed here and there, working with different teams. You decide that you need a bit more knowledge, so you go back to university to do your master's. Then you make this transition from student to business owner. You decide, I'm ready, I'm going full time. What challenges did you face when you...
Well, first of all, I didn't go from like uni to business owner, I went to uni to create your own job. That's what I did, yeah.
So you wanted to basically carve a space out in this world for yourself?
I just needed more money. I had a kid, I've got a roof over my head, I need to pay for it. And it was getting difficult having to travel. Like, people think, oh, you work in sport. That's amazing. Because they like watching a 90-minute game or, whatever the sport is. I was like, boy, you don't see the 6 hours of traveling and the this and the that and, the not so glamorous side of the game. You know what I mean? And I was saying to myself, okay, if I'm going to continue doing that, I can't continue doing it at the rate at which I'm doing it, because it's having a repercussions at home.
I think also what people need to understand is that we went to uni a little bit older than the norm. So the responsibilities are obviously higher, the life is shorter, so the moves need to be faster.
And we didn't go to uni. When we went to uni, I was very much the cool guy because I had my own shit to do. Where a lot of the younger individuals in uni at that time were able to live the uni life. I don't think I ever seen the SU, the uni social area. I don't think I ever seen that.
Example freshers, I didn't.
I didn't do that.
It used to be literally drive up to uni, do my lectures, do what I need to do, then go to work.
Right. I'd go into uni. Oh, Ray, no, I'm already out the building. As soon as the lesson was over, I had life to do. So it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. So for me, it was about a job to start with. I was I was trying to find a space. So I was operating out of my nan's living room. I was then progressed that to operating out of a kind of a sports center or a sports arena, but I just had a medical room in that space.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's the same place I was doing the camp. I just had a little medical room, and I was there. I was trying to figure out how I market, how I do this, and I was throwing money at Yellow Pages. To go back to say how long it was, throwing money at putting a magazine in this advert or advert in that magazine, blah blah blah, to try and get more just bodies, customers. As far as I was concerned, I just want people are like meat to me. At that stage, it was getting my hands on as much bodies as I can to improve my craft at being able to diagnose, treat, or whatever the case may be, train, improve, whatever the case may be. And then off the back of that, and off the back of building credibility from some of the work that I was doing in the elite sphere, it so happened that the demand increased.
Okay, so people saw saw the athletes that you were working with.
Saw the athletes I was working with. Some of these athletes are starting to make headway in the media.
Yeah.
The headway that they're making in the media, the individuals writing the articles are starting to include me in it now. So, my name's buzzing a little bit. So when it's buzzing, I'm getting phone calls, people reaching out to me on social media or whatever the case, agents calling me, blah, 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 blah. And as a consequence, it was like, this is too much for me now.
Okay.
So
too much for you to manage.
Yeah, so I needed to, I wouldn't even say expand on the team. I just wanted an extra set of hands to support in managing the workload, because I didn't go into it at the start directly to set up the business. The set up the business was meant to come a couple of years later.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it just so happened that it came from day one. I was always, I look back, I was always building the foundations to the same thing we do today.
Okay. You mentioned obviously getting an extra pair of hands. In this discussion so far, we spoke about you doing everything yourself.
Yeah.
How hard was it to give somebody space to do work in your, arena?
I don't think, do you know what? I don't think it was hard per se for me. I think it was hard for them.
Why would you say
because of expectation.
yours?
There's their expectation of what my expectation is, because they know how highly I deliver my work.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that almost brings about their own fears of, I don't want to disappoint Ray. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Rather than, I didn't have systems and processes. I just delivered at my best.
Okay.
That was what it was. Now, if they continually see me go above and beyond, they don't want to drop the ball, because I'm going to ask why.
Yes.
Was that the best you could do today? If you tell me no, what could you have done better? They're always difficult conversations to have. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
It took me several years later to figure out how to clone my methodologies or my approach, or to bottle up my approach, that I could turn around and go, listen, this is the core values, this is what we do, this is how we're going to go on, this is our mission, this is the vision, this is where we're going. I didn't really understand how to write that down to start with.
Yes.
As time came on, and as I was able to get more hands on the deck, I was then able to just step back
And oversee and actually see what you're doing as a business.
Right.
Yeah.
See what we're doing as a business, understand my work better, rather than just deploying my work and then just reflecting when I'm lying in bed.
Yeah.
I was able to actually start mapping out greater journeys and how I can improve this and how I can improve that. Start developing at the stage at which I'm working, rather than developing when I'm in my own personal time. Because I always felt like I was working 24 hours a day.
Doesn't that tend to happen when you have business?
Smart people won't do that.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like the naive people, not the silly, naive people will do that because they feel like they need to work in the business constantly, not on the business. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
If I started again, I'd probably be a lot more stricter with my time. You'll always make money. Like no one can tell me nothing. You'll always make money, but you can't reverse time.
Okay, I understand. So I didn't want to kind of gloss over the business itself. I want the people to know exactly what you do. So what is Back2Action, in your opinion?
Yeah, we're a kind of sports performance company that supports individuals across the kind of what I call our 4 main performance pillars: physical, mindset, fuel, and recovery. And we've kind of added on an extra one, which we do, but we never really looked at as such, which is community. Do you see what I mean? So, your physical training, whether you're injured or not, Your recovery, again, whether you're injured or not, because you can be fit and still need a recovery strategy. Your mindset, for me, comes across in our approach. Yeah, we've got psychologists at the ready for us, but we try to build in within our training programs, our training methods, the psychological journeys people will have to go through before they've even started. So when we're communicating with these individuals, we can say, listen, what you're about to feel is okay, you know.
Yeah.
It brings about a sense of ease. People then know, you know what you're talking about. You said I was going to feel like this, and I did. Like, it's an amazing feeling, and it's also an amazing feeling when you start to see the fruits of your labor coming through, and these individuals go from lack of confidence to greater confidence, or a lack of belief to, oh, actually, you know what, I'm ready, and I'm ready to go and attack this challenge and go ahead and go put my all into it. It's such an amazing feeling. But that comes back to, you know, those 5 pillars of ours now.
So currently, do you just work with professional players, or do you work with recreational athletes?
Oh, so the fundamental, you know what, when I first started the business, it was like, I want to work with elite people. And I kind of made a bad name for the business because people then felt like we were unapproachable. And it was never my intention, because I was like, hang on a minute, what do you mean? People say to me, I need to train before I go there. No, that don't make no sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was because of the caliber of people that they're seeing us working with. And then I said to people, no.
It became a barrier.
It became a barrier.
Okay.
A huge barrier. So then it was like, no. Well, listen, to the small minority of elite athletes that are there in this world, we offer our services to grassroots and recreational individuals, who aspire to be at the top of their game. If we turn around and get a 15-year-old today, and we can support them in enhancing their abilities, whether they become a pro or not, there's so many positive kind of characteristics you can extrapolate through physical training and, you know, even the rehabilitation process that will grow you as an individual.
Yeah.
Whether you're going to become a shopkeeper, an accountant, a this or that, or an elite sports person, there's so much you can take out of it. So, you know, it's about building those pillars, one for life, but 2 for, you know, hopefully for if somebody aspires to hit that dream, their future sporting success.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what level you're at. It doesn't matter what level you're at all.
Obviously, through this journey, it's never a straight line, as we know, you know. There's bends, hills, and sometimes mountains that you have to climb. Obviously, we're in your new premises now, but before you started off a lot smaller than this.
Yeah. Well, if we go back to, like I said, it was Manans, then it went to Whitehall, which was just like a small treatment room. In this treatment room, it's no bigger than a bedroom. It had a treatment bed, a couple of storage cupboards. I think I had 150 kilos worth of weights, a portable squat rack, so that I could just start to do some bits in it. That then progressed to quite a luxurious facility in Ashton Court, but it was half the size of this place now.
You're being generous there.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, I mean, it's this room that we're in.
Okay.
Yeah, not the whole place, just this room. I think it was like half the size of this, but. We were there. We made a lot of headway there in regards to the business. Some real success. I heavily invested there because I believed that at the time to be our current home. I was actually looking at our expansion model to come off of that.
Okay.
But then we were hit with the hurdle of, you know, suddenly we were just told, you kind of got to get out. It's like, wait a minute, and you know, this is 2 years ago now, I believe. 2 years later, it's still empty. So, not everything's going to make sense, but that hurdle felt like this could be the end of us.
So obviously, throughout this process, we all go through setbacks. How did you manage to get over yours? Because the difference, say, for example, with me, if I lost my job, I just go get another one. But if you lose your business...
You can start another one, but it ain't that easy.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It ain't that easy. So I'll be honest, and that's where that 5th pillar comes into it. The community is one of the most powerful things you can have.
Okay.
Who and what you work with, and who and what you surround yourself with. When you're going through kind of setbacks and adversity, our members, local members, and our professional members, they stepped up when the business needed them.
Okay.
They supported us in, you know, rallying up certain campaigns. and making sure we were heard. Do you know what I mean?
Is that with because there was a few things in the press?
In the press we had, because we were in such a unique facility, it then come with a small amount of private residence on that facility, and, you know, we were privy to some of the information that they were getting, which was conflicting to the information that we were getting. So it helped us build a case and helped us just to kind of navigate our way forward and maybe delay to give us more time and X, Y, Z. And then, you know, no matter how callous or how cold certain individuals are, everyone's got a heart. Everyone's got a heart. Do you see what I'm saying? You start having proper conversations with people. Didn't make it any easier for me. I still going home, sleepless nights. My partner, she, you know, my missus, she's doing her utmost to keep me fully focused, because there's times I'm like, I might just get a job. Yeah. It might be tomorrow. I might be in McDonald's work. I don't know where I'm going to be. My pride doesn't stretch that far. I'll work anywhere. I've got mouth to feed.
Yes.
I'll work anywhere I need to work in order to get back onto my feet.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? And I was just like, hang on a minute. Right, we got this in the bank. But if I got that in the bank, I've just put 50, 60K into that gym. That's gone now.
Yeah.
What I got there ain't enough to go and support me in this next transition or in this next move, for argument's sake. I've got money tied up in other things. I'm like, I've got employees.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? What am I going to do? You know, I'm looking at, do I get a loan? Do I want to put that on my head? Do I want to do this? And in the end, I just said to myself, do you know what? Go to sleep. I went for a long walk.
Okay.
So the big move was needed. Obviously, lost your space. The dream changed. You had, obviously, all these big decisions to make. What did you learn about yourself during that time?
One thing I learned about myself right then was that I ain't been a boss yet.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean? I've been a facilitator of people's work. I haven't been a boss yet because I was not conditioned. I was not ready for those types of feelings, emotions, those types of doubts, those types of... I was not in a space where I'd even thought about those types of things, you know what I mean? And, you know, now constantly in my head, I've got, okay, if we're taking 4 steps forward, just what if somebody provided that setback? How are we going to pivot, maneuver, blah, 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 blah? You know what I'm saying? Like one thing I strive for, not just our customers, but I strive for our team. Okay. Do you see what I mean? So like my team includes my network of people in the business, the team that are currently working with us, the team that's been with us. I want to make the people that used to work with us proud as well. I want our team to feel great to wear the B2A shirt and to come into the place and just feel like they're in an amazing space, you know what I'm saying? And then I want to make, when you come down, when other friends or family come down, like making them proud to say, yeah, we are moving, yeah? We're making strides forward. Like, so to be able to do that, I said to myself, okay, I always need to be prepared for the negative that may come, whilst I'm continually building on positives that are going to come. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying?
To be fair, every single time I come back or have come back to the UK, obviously I always come here. And I remember the first time I came to this facility, and I was like, yeah, Bossy's made a big step.
Funny you say that. The team at the time could not see it. So when we came in, what was something? It used to be a dinner hall. Do you know what I mean? Little hut over there, kitchen over there. That was a cellar. This floor was like a canteen floor. And I used to say to them, listen, this is going to be just fine. Yeah. They was like, nah, nah. And you know, lo and behold, I had a friend of mine, Luda, Melv, who you also know. These guys worked hard to support, a big shout out to them, to support in rebuilding and putting the foundations and the legs on. Do you see what I'm saying? Like these guys worked hard, not just them, there was other individuals as well, but they worked hard. And as time went on, brick by brick you could call it, they was like, I see it. I can see it.
And you can see it coming
I
together.
can see, yeah. Whereas I've gone in with the vision saying, yeah, man, this is fine. This is going here, that's going there, that's going there. It's going to lay out like this, going to be like this, going to be like that. And then we put it all together and it was like, yeah, Rail's vision was kind of right, but wasn't entirely right. It didn't support the customer's journey as such. You know, with their help, with other coaches' help, therapists' help, XYZ, with, you know, my partner's help, yours and other friends who come in and just eyeball, that doesn't really work just there, and that doesn't. We tweaked it and tweaked the environment to make it into what we currently are in today.
See, now, I remember that obviously you made a transition and now you're blessed with not just a gym facility and obviously massage rooms and stuff like that. Now you're blessed with grounds.
Yeah, we got grounds, and you know, not only do we got grounds were in a private location. Mm-hmm. So from a customer perspective, they come in, they park for free.
Yeah.
They come in, they can enjoy themselves. They come in, they can focus on themselves. It's kind of like a getaway. Yeah. At the same time, do you know what I mean? But more so, this is currently where B2A's home. That's a great feeling when you can say that. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. Like when you're a living organism like this business, and you can say, yeah, I've got a home. Mm-hmm. You can make moves off of a foundation of having a home. Do you see what I mean? So now we're currently looking at our growth model and what's coming in the future. We know where the home of B2A is. Like, my home has always been wanting to keep B2A a Bristol-based brand that's expanding outside of Bristol to communities like ours.
Because you've had opportunities, you've had people contact you and say, you should move to London because you're
Listen, I had a conversation earlier with a good friend of mine from day one in B2A who said to me, I've been telling you from the start, you should be in London. Mm-hmm. I went and, you know, we're currently looking at territories such as London, Midlands, blah, 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 where we can expand and see if we can work with some of the professional, not just athletes, but coaches and blah, 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 in those areas to put the B2A brand in and stamp in those cities. And they're like, listen, it will be an honor to have B2A there. When you start hearing those feedback, it's encouraging. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's encouraging that peers, friends of friends, friends of customers, friends of mine, whatever the case, actually recognize the brand to be that. Mm. Do you know what I mean? It's encouraging. So the setbacks that we previously had, I'm hearing encouraging stuff. So let's keep going. Let's keep striving. Let's keep grinding. Yes. I'm nowhere near where I want to be yet. Do you know what I mean? I'm nowhere near it.
Is that because you're over-ambitious, or you just feel there's a lot of growth left in the company?
I don't believe is Bill Gates over-ambitious? Was Steve Jobs over-ambitious? Some of these guys changed the world for certain things, do you know what I mean? So for me, my ambition lies very high. I've been reining in my kind of milestones for gratitude, so I can reward myself, because I've never really done that, reward myself for hitting milestones, But the team know we're moving. Okay. Do you see what I mean? Now, we've got our targets. Our aim is to be positively affecting 100,000 people per year, every year. Okay. That will move, because when we hit it, that's no longer enough. Yes. Do you see what I mean? There's more than 100,000 people in our region. Yeah. And I'm not saying we're going to do all of those, but when we spread that across the world, there's millions to do. There's millions of people we could be supporting and hitting over periods of time, X, Y, Z. If McDonald's can feed the amount that they feed, listen, just give me 10% of that, yeah? I must can do something. I must can do something good, yeah?
For sure.
I'm just thinking about some of the names when I've come here, I've seen, obviously you already mentioned Yannick, Danny Rose, Tyrone Mings. Yeah. Obviously there's a lot more. But you've kind of made like a slight adjustment, but you've changed a part of the business model a little bit, because you're now doing education. Like, what was the purpose of doing an educational program?
You know, like, the model's not just changed because of education. When I not first started, but over the first few years, I was the guy in football. Okay. Do you see what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, like anything, you have to develop. Mm-hmm. I didn't just set out to I wanted to work in football, but when I realized what I wanted the brand to do, I wanted the brand to facilitate, feed and support sport. Do you see what I mean? Sport of all kinds. And we started to do that. Then it was like, okay, in order to facilitate this, so we provide jobs.
Yeah.
We enhance careers or enhance people's skill sets and you know, recovery, support them from injury, whatever the case may be. We enhance people. Then I was like, hang on, what about education? How do we provide the fundamental steps to introduce people into this industry who don't know where to start?
Yeah.
Some people are at uni and they're going to get great qualifications and go on to have successful careers. Maybe the people come to us now and they're actually too strong to be in the business at the precise moment where the business is, because there is such a thing. Do you know what I mean? But when people want to start their journeys, or when people are on their journeys wanting to support their journeys, how are we going to do, you know, in my eyes, I was like, well, how are you facilitating that, big man? Yeah. I asked myself these questions. Do you know what I mean? I started chatting to myself. How are you going to facilitate that? I said to myself, no. My son will be 18 in a few days. Imagine he wanted an opportunity like this in a company like this.
Yeah.
Someone else has got a son like that. Someone else has got a daughter like that. We need to fix that.
Okay, I get it.
And I felt like we were at a time and a place where it could happen. Previous to this, it couldn't happen. We had it in the pipeline. When I was trying to do it, it was too soon. Do you see what I mean? But now, right now, we've launched our PT course and we have a coaches development pathway. Yeah. We want to extend that coaches development pathway into the medical side of it, and then into smaller workshops and disciplines that can be applied to sport and in various different disciplines. But as it stands, we're in the baby steps of our academic kind of offering, and it was just to be able to, not just to give back to the community, but to give back to the industry and the community, to say, yeah, come, well, we'll show you how this can be done. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, but we've had mentorship programs for years now. Do you know what I mean? We've supported individuals to come in who haven't necessarily been able to work with elite athletes at the capacity in which we do, especially during our camp month, to go and do that. And then through my connections and, you know, friends of my connections, we've placed people at Man United, we've placed people at Wolves, we've placed people at international football clubs and stuff like that. So, you know, we've been supporting people indirectly, but now we've been able to formalise it, package it up, offer a pathway, which would support individuals, you know, along their career journey, not just, oh yeah, I'm just going to become a trainer. Yes. Like, what am I going to do with that? What do you want to do with that? Do you know what I mean? To me, it means a lot more than just becoming a trainer or a coach or a this or that. Like, this is your career path. What's the impact you want to have? You know what I mean? And okay, if that's the impact you want to have, let's pave the way on how you're going to achieve that career development.
Yeah. No, it's admirable, to be fair. Obviously, you can fall into a trap of just trying to get self-gratification for all the stuff that you're doing, you know, obviously, whether it's monetary or things, you know. But giving back and giving a pathway to individuals to hopefully then achieve, especially individuals like you're doing that actually look like you. Is from my side, touch you for this one, because it's a big move, and I think once we do get to a stage in our life where we're able to facilitate others, especially ones that look like us, I think we should do it more.
100%. 100. Would I have wanted to be facilitated for back then? 100%. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So if you're in a position in which you can do it, don't get me wrong, you can't do it for everyone. But if you are in a position in which you can do it, you've affected a percentage at least. You've empowered a percentage at least. Some of the decisions, some of the conversations, some of the guidance that you may give could support somebody else's situation. Yeah. You know how impactful that is? Yeah,
it's true. My career journey changed because I met a black guy who was a lecturer at my university in my first year.
Right.
And that was the only lecture that I decided that I'm going to be at the front. I don't know if it was because of respect. I don't know if because I felt comfortable. I'll be honest, it was in a subject that I knew nothing about because the process for me getting into uni was not the norm. So I thought, okay, be at the front, be attentive, make sure I listen. I just listened to this guy talk, gave him the respect he deserved. And then he was the individual that had the connection that got me into the field that I'm in now. And then from there, we've gone from strength to strength. you know. And hopefully one day, if you're watching, John, we can get you on the show and you can tell everybody about my bad behaviour in uni.
Yeah, the funny thing about what you just said, I started sitting at the front of rooms when I felt comfortable being me.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
So you didn't want to fade into the background anymore?
No.
You want to be seen?
Because before it was a case of, you know what, I'm only here for me.
Yeah.
So I sit at the back, get what I need, and I'm gone.
Yes.
Do you see where I'm coming from? Well, I didn't get enough. I always left with questions. Then I soon realised the trick. Once I'm comfortable being in that room for being me, I am not leaving without the information I need. Do you see what I'm saying? Listen, now, I'll friend up the lecturer, me and you, because you got what I need. I'll friend up the facilitator, because you got what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? No, excuse me, go ahead with your question. Okay, my turn. And I'm asking, because when I leave that room, it's me and my fights again. It's me and my choices again. It's me and my brain again. Do you see what I'm saying? And I have a responsibility now for myself, the business, to be able to, provide 100% of me constantly.
Yeah.
I don't accept 99% of me. Do you see what I mean? There's no such thing. If I'm ill, you're still getting 100% of me. You're getting 100% of me on that day. Do you see what I'm saying?
I think there's been a lot of gems in this conversation that we've had. I think that one, for me, resonates. Because now I'm reflecting on my experience and the things that I do. And for sure, when I feel comfortable, I'm seen.
Right.
You know, it's like I've got to a stage in life now where I'm comfortable enough to have this camera in front of me and talk. Whereas maybe 2-3 years ago, I would have said to you, nah. Because you already said to me, Dennis, you need to do this. Dennis, you need to do that. I'm like, nah, let me just sort this out. There's always an excuse.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now we're here. And we're delivering.
That's it.
One thing that you've always done, which I found annoying, but now I understand it, is that you used to always sit down and read book. Is there anything that you're reading at the moment or read previously that you think others should read?
Yeah. Let me start off with what others should read.
Okay.
Yeah. Everybody should read The Alchemist.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a non-negotiable. Everybody should read that. And everybody should read, I can't remember who the author is, but everybody should read a book called Compound Interest.
Okay.
Yeah, because no matter, it's not about the story that's in the book, it's about the actual compounding of your own life.
Yes.
That I want people to take away from that. Do you know what I mean? Like your life continually compounds.
Yes.
Now, I had a conversation with somebody the other day. I was waiting for them in a cafe and I was sat there just reading. They came in a cafe and, the first thing they said is, "You're well read." I really struggle with reading. I said, "Probably because you're reading the wrong stuff."
Yeah.
And they were, "What do you mean?" A friend recommended me a book and I was like, okay, but why did they recommend you that book? What message do they want you to get out of that book?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'll be honest, what I'm reading is completely irrelevant to the audience unless I can start to give them the whys I'm reading it.
Yes.
So The Alchemist, everybody needs to really just take away the take-home message behind the journey in that book. Yeah. The compound interest, again, either the compound interest or the slight edge, to understand the compound effects, the compounding elements of life and how things snowball and get bigger. Yeah.
Sorry, what we might do is put the
links to
the books and so forth in the
and then
info below.
Do I have another book? The next one is by Brian Tracy. It's called Eat That Frog.
Yeah, you like that one. You've said to me about that one a lot.
I read that one 100 odd times. I go back to it, I listen to it, I read it, and it's just my little kick up the backside.
Okay.
That just stops me from procrastinating for too long and just getting what I need to get. Just get it done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We need to learn to get out of our own way. There's a load of other books that I could happily recommend, but for the majority of people, they get in their own way. Or they don't respect their own time. So because they don't respect their own time, they don't necessarily see the compounding effect of their bad decisions on them or what their good decisions could actually do moving forward. So, they'd be the three or four that I would recommend.
You mentioned the compound effect.
And I'm just thinking compounding in terms of monetary and how compounding you need obviously time.
Yeah.
So you need obviously a continuous practice.
Yeah.
But you need to give that
Practice time.
You need to give that practice time. You keep doing... if you set a precedent and you keep, chipping away over time, the percentage increase that you will get of success later on down the road, it's the same as what people say about Warren Buffett's pocket.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But this time it's your effort. This time it's your reward. It's your goal.
Yeah.
It's the exact same principle. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And if we can learn to appreciate our actions, that will then transfer into the success you're looking for later on down the road, as long as you align that with a solid plan. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's where I would like most people to start in regards to, the topics of this conversation.
Brilliant. So my final question for you today, and just so you know, your answer, you need to facilitate this to happen. Okay, because each one teach one hand washes the other, as you already know. Yeah. So who would you like to see on this show?
I got 3 people.
That's fine, as long as you can get them 3 people to speak to me.
I can get 2. 1, I'm working on being in the same room. Okay. Yeah? So the first person, Leon Mann, I think what he's done in the sporting realm, from his journalism through to his professional work that he does now, in actually his recognition for inclusion in sport, is in football specifically, is phenomenal. He's a good friend of mine, so I'm gonna get him on there for you. The other one, Ian Wright, Raw and Uncut. Everyone loves a bit of Ian. Everyone loves a bit of Wrighty. Again, we'll get him on for you. And the other one, Jay-Z. But I'm not in his room yet. So when I get into his room, I'm a hook you up too. We're friends like that. But the reason I want him is because, again, for me, it's a milestone of I'm arriving at a position in which I feel I should and I could achieve. And he's been inspirational towards me, and I know that not a lot of people get to have interviews with him.
Yes.
So when I know you get to that level, I know we made it, right?
Yeah.
So there you have it. Another episode of Outside of Fink completed. Thanks to Rayan Wilson for sharing his journey with us. And remember, do all the good things. Like, subscribe, comment. We need to get this podcast and stuff. Fucking hell.
Podcast, yeah?
My fucking podcast, is it? It's a blood clot show.